When you hear the word cowboy, what springs to mind? Is it some rugged individual, Stetson pushed back, astride a magnificent steed, silhouetted against a dusty sunset? Is it a quick draw, a stoic gaze, a lonely figure on the open range? If so, you're not wrong, exactly. But you're probably only seeing a small, very Hollywood-filtered part of a much bigger, much dirtier, and frankly, a lot more interesting picture. Because what is a cowboy is far more complex than just a cool hat and a trusty horse. It's a story of cultural fusion, economic necessity, incredible endurance, and yes, a surprising amount of mud. To truly understand the cowboy, we have to saddle up and ride back in time. Far before the iconic images of the American West, our journey begins not in Texas, but with the Spanish conquistadors, who first brought cattle and horses to the Americas in the 16th century. These weren't your average farm animals. These were longhorn cattle, hardy and wild, perfect for the vast, untamed landscapes of New Spain, which we now know as Mexico. And where there are wild cattle, you need skilled people to manage them. Enter the vaquero, meaning, quite literally, cowman in Spanish. These early cowboys were the OGs of open-range cattle herding. They developed the techniques, the tack, and even much of the lingo that would eventually define the American cowboy. Think about it. Words like rodeo, lariat from lariata, bronco, and even chaps from chaparreras, all straight from the vaquero's playbook. These guys were the real deal, expert horsemen and ropers, moving cattle across huge haciendas. They were wearing wide-brimmed hats to protect from the sun, leather chaps to protect their legs from thorny brush, and using lariats to catch and control their livestock. Essentially, they were the original action heroes, just with a lot more dust and significantly fewer special effects. Fast forward a few centuries, and the United States starts expanding west. After the Civil War, the southern plains, particularly Texas, were overflowing with millions of wild or semi-wild longhorn cattle. They were worth next to nothing in Texas, but up north, in the rapidly growing cities and railhead towns like Abilene and Dodge City, they were gold. The problem? How do you get millions of pounds of beef from point A to point B when point B is hundreds, sometimes 1,000, miles away? You guessed it, you hire cowboys. This period, roughly from 1866 to the late 1880s, was the golden age of the American cattle drive. And crucially, the workforce for these drives was just as diverse as the cattle itself. Forget the monochrome movie images. The real cowboy was a melting pot. A significant portion were African American men, many newly freed slaves, who found opportunities and a measure of respect on the range that was denied to them elsewhere. There were Mexican vaqueros, bringing their deeply ingrained knowledge and skills. There were Native Americans, who had their own long history with horses and the land. And yes, there were white cowboys, often former Confederate soldiers or poor farmers seeking adventure and a paycheck. It was a motley crew, united by a common, incredibly tough job. So, what exactly was that job? Well, it wasn't romantic poetry or campfire songs all the time, folks. Imagine yourself in the saddle for 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, for months on end. You're moving a herd of 2,000 ornery, icily spooked longhorns across vast, unmapped territory. Your salary? Maybe $25 to $40 a month, which was decent for the time, but definitely not get-rich-quick money. A cowboy's day was a symphony of grit. They'd wake before dawn, often to freezing temperatures, gulp down strong coffee and whatever meager food was available, and then ride. Their skills were encyclopedic. Expert horsemanship, obviously. Incredible proficiency with a lariat to rope cattle. A keen eye for branding and doctoring sick animals. the ability to read the land and the weather, and nerves of steel to prevent stampedes. Or, if one started to turn one, a real stampede wasn't like in the movies, where everyone just gallops happily along. It was a terrifying, potentially lethal wall of hooves and horns, capable of pulverizing anything in its path. Your life literally depended on your ability to work as a team, be self-reliant, and keep your wits about you. And trust me, after weeks on the trail, everyone smelled like a combination of horse, sweat, and whatever those cows had been eating. It was less man of the West and more PU of the plains. But that was the reality. But, like all good things, or at least all incredibly arduous things, the era of the open-range cattle drive came to an end. The late 1880s saw a perfect storm of factors. The expansion of railroads meant cattle could be shipped closer to their origin. Homesteaders, armed with newfangled barbed wire, started fencing off the open range, breaking up traditional trails. And brutal winters in 1886 to 87 decimated herds and bankrupted many cattle barons. The days of simply pushing cattle across endless prairies were over, but the cowboy didn't vanish. Far from it, they simply evolved. The nomadic trail boss transformed into the ranch hand, working on defined properties, managing smaller herds, and focusing more on breeding and maintenance. Their skills were still vital, just applied in a more structured environment. And for those who missed the thrill of competition and the demonstration of their unique abilities, the rodeo emerged. Born from the informal contests held at the end of cattle drives, rodeo became a way for cowboys to showcase their riding, roping, and wrestling prowess, preserving their traditions and entertaining crowds in the process. It was, and still is, a living testament to the skills forged on the dusty trails. So, what is a cowboy today? They're still out there, though they might be using ATVs as much as horses. And their chaps might be protecting them from brush while they talk on a satellite phone. They are the men and women who continue to work tirelessly on ranches, stewards of the land and livestock, embodying the same resilience, ingenuity, and self-reliance that defined their predecessors. The cowboy, then, is more than a costumed character from a dime novel or a classic Western film. They are a complex, diverse figure woven into the fabric of American and Mexican history. They are the spirit of adaptability, a symbol of hard work, and a testament to the enduring human connection with the land and its creatures. From the Spanish vaquero to the modern rancher, the cowboy's legacy continues to ride on. A little less glamorous maybe, but authentic through and through. So next time you see that iconic silhouette, remember, there's a whole lot more to that story than meets the eye. And probably a lot more dirt. Ever wanted to be a cowboy? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this historical deep dive, be sure to smash that like button, subscribe for more, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.